you so much. Kind of sounds like music for water, right? I think so, at least. Thank you. Okay, so we have another tune that's like somewhat of a personal story, I guess you could say. This one I wrote in 2017, and it was it was a piece I wrote after a very. It's like you have moments in your life where you kind of go, you're going through like a new chapter in life, and I remember I wrote this right after I'd like completely finished school, kind of I guess you'd say on my own, and then also I had moved to a new place. I broke up with my girlfriend at the time, so it was just a kind of lot. Thanks. Yeah, good answer. Okay, and then, so it's just kind of one of those feelings of like, it feels like overwhelming in part, but it's also that, Jesus, time goes by so quickly. It's like one of those moments in time that you get every so often. So this is gonna feature Alex Budman, Eric Hughes, and Amy Rowe, and this is called In Sadness 2. Thank you. In sadness too. I think that's sad. Okay, so this next one is also somewhat personal of a story too for the tune. This is kind of the more personal side of the set list here. It won't last forever. But this is one that actually is gonna feature Dave Richards. This is actually kind of a trumpet feature. I actually wrote about a friend of mine, one of my best friends that moved away actually out of Seattle, and it's actually his name is Richard Carey, and he was actually the first like really great lead trumpet player I ever played with. I remember when I first got to APU, it was Azusa Pacific, just up the freeway here. And when my first day in big band, I just not used to great like people who have played with such like full volume. And I remember hearing him play the first time, like, whoa! And I just like kept like looking back like every moment of like the first rehearsal. And so, yeah, and so. But then we kind of started just working together and gigging together all the time, and like he's probably the one I've like carpooled the gigs more than anybody else actually. And so, in a few days, and then he moved to Seattle, and then that made me very sad because I think it's just one of those things where when you're very young like that, like 18 or 19, and you have someone who has plays with someone such a high standard too, you have this sort of like idealism of like, we're gonna be like a horn section that's gonna like take over the world and like be the best ever. But that's just not really, because people in life just have different, even if they're the same level, people have just different ambitions in life. So yeah, this is gonna be Gone and Away, and this features Dave Richards and Dan Kanayuki, and this is Gone and Away. Thank you. Dan Kaneyuki. I forgot to mention Amy Earl on piano as well. And of course, Dave Richards on trumpet. Isn't he amazing? In fact, I mentioned he was Richard was the first lead trumpet player with. Dave was probably actually the second great lead trumpet player I ever played with, actually. We met on my first Glenn Miller tour in 2014, hey lead. So it's really amazing to have like friends you've known for so long too that you've also kind of go up the ranks with too. So anyway, so the next one, we have one more and then we're gonna bring out our special guest. This is a tune, this is actually one of my tune I wrote like about a year or two ago. It's sort of inspired by the idea. If you doesn't know me well enough, know that I'm a fairly optimistic person. I like to consider myself a realistic optimist. And yeah, sure, I'll take it. And so this is kind of the antithesis of people. What I really don't like about people is when they're just like, I know this is like a comedy club now. You know what I hate? Grinds my gears. Is when people are just like, doesn't matter what happens, man, we're all screwed, you know. And so I just sort of really hate that. So it always seems like it's at some point, ever since I was a kid, it seems like we're always in difficult times, but somehow we just keep going. Like time just keeps moving along, which is the title of this tune. It's called Moving Along. And this is gonna feature Chris Berg and Dan again at Kaneyuki. Moving Along. Moving along. That's Amy Rowe, Dan Kaneyuki, Chris Berg. Great players, aren't they? Okay, now it's time to bring up the special guest vocalist we have here. You're probably why there's another mic here and why there's a guitar. I do not play guitar, so somebody's got to play it. So here we go. So this next guest is a dear, dear friend of mine. She's like a sister to me, practically. And she's one of those musicians that has sort of gone from having her own band with some degree of success to really become a sort of working freelance musician in the truest sense. And what I mean by that is, for those of you that are not in the music industry, when you're a performer, there's kind of essentially two different ways to make a living off of this, which is either what most people know, which is you have your own band, you might tour, you might record some albums, so on and so forth. And then there's the other kind, which is what I do, what most of us in the band do, which is sort of freelance, sideman, hired gun type of work. We play in tons of different bands, we do recording sessions, events, so on and so forth. And somehow Eva has figured out a way to have sort of the best of both worlds here. She has, along with her own band too, called the Vagabond Tales, and she has a swing band as well, but also has toured with Postmodern Jukebox. You've seen her here actually, Bravey, with the Secret Agents band. And now her band plays at Disney every so often, in the park now, you might hit. So I am very honored to introduce my dear friend, Eva Mikhailovna. And this is an arrangement, Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while you sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room
Everybody wants to rule the world. Eva, everybody. There's also Matt Franke on trumpet. Isn't he great? Okay, so part of how I know Eva actually is because we actually played in the same band. Not at the same time, but we did play in the same band. One of the first regular gigs I ever had was at this place in Riverside called Prohibition, and I played there every Thursday. Shout out to my Mad Marionettes crew over there. Down here still. So, and the reason I got that gig, because it was like after the sophomore year of college, I was like so desperate for any kind of gigs, so I started looking through Craigslist for gigs, and I found a few. Most of it did not work out, but the one that survived, I guess you could say, is through this band called the Mad Marionettes. And so I played with them, and yeah, and so we're gonna do one of the tunes that we actually used to play all the time with them, called After You've Gone. And big shout out too to my friend Danny over there too, who was the leader of the band. He's one of those people you never know where people end up, because now he's a film composer and works on Netflix documentaries. If you've heard the Untold series. So we're gonna do start with a little duet in the beginning, and this is After You've Gone.
After you've gone and left me crying, after you've gone, there's no denying. You'll feel blue, you'll feel sad, you'll miss the dearest pal you've ever had. There'll come a time, no, don't forget it. There'll come a time when you'll regret it. Someday when you feel lonely, your heart will break like mine and you want me only. After you've gone away. After I'm gone, after we break up, after I'm gone, you'll finally wake up. You will find you were blind to let somebody else come in and change your mind. After the years we've been together, through all the tears, all kinds of weather. Someday, blue and downhearted, you long to be with me right back where you started. After you've gone, after you've gone away. You'll miss the dearest thought you've ever had. There'll come a time, now don't forget it. There'll come a time when you'll regret it. Oh, babe, look what you're doing. You know my love for you will drive me to ruin. After you've gone, 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 after you've gone away.
Eva, that was amazing. Really high off. That's After You've Gone, an old standard written 1918, I believe it was. Okay, so the next tune we're gonna do is actually an original of Eva's. I mentioned Mad Marionettes we played in, but another band I played in was her band, Eva and the Vagabond Tales. And it's very, I don't know how to describe it other than like kind of gypsy folk type music, if you will. And I had the idea of like, why don't we just try adapting it for big band? And also one of the things too about Eva's music is that she's just a fantastic songwriter too. I remember when I first started playing Vagabond Tales, I was like just trying to listen to her songs over and over again, and just trying to get lines and how to play with. And one of the things, and I just kept listening because the songs were just so fantastic too. One of the things too that was great when I played with her is she doesn't actually have any backup vocalists in her band, though her records have a ton of backing vocalists as well. So I had this idea of sort of being like a backup vocalist, but like with clarinet, because there's something about like clarinet and you that fits so well too. And you used to play clarinet, right?
I did, and that's actually also how I first started singing, because in elementary school I was like 11 years old. I switched from flute to clarinet, and I promised the teacher, I know the clarinet, I know how to play it, but my clarinet was broken and I thought it was something wrong with me. And instead of getting caught, I thought I would get in trouble, so I would sing my clarinet parts. And it went on for months and months until the teacher said, one of you guys is out of tune, play one at a time. And I tried singing by myself, and she realized I had been singing that entire time. So I tried my best to sound like a clarinet, and that's how I started singing.
Pretty great. Yeah, you're better off. All right, so here's the originals. It's called Thieves.
Spent the many hours searching through all the time, and he had gold in his eyes that he stole from the night's collection of the stars. Not many more of a kind in the city of lights, coming from afar.
Thieves. Such a great song, isn't it? Very, very catchy. It gets stuck in my head all the time. Okay, so we have just one more we got with Eva here, and this is also another originals of hers too. And what I like so much about her songwriting is that she sort of oftentimes blurs the line between kind of like 60s pop and swing and sort of French jazz, if you will. And so this is kind of a good amalgamation of all of it too. Yeah. It seems, I've always noticed too, it's like the sort of very Riverside sound, if you will, to have the sort of gypsy swing type of, they can relate. Okay, so this is while we're with Eva, this is Sir Bourdet.
Somebody wake me, I was waiting in my sleep for you, but you didn't come through. My heart is with you. Somebody hear my soul, you had my heart filled with hope in my room. Under the moon, my heart is with you. Oh, my love, don't hide your charms from me. Da 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 da. And I know you'd be afraid of what love can do. Da ba da ba ba. Da da da. Somebody, can't you see I was wishing patiently, but you've run far away to the sun. Oh, what has become? Oh, my love, don't hide your charms from me.
Eva Mikhailova, everybody.
Joe Di Fiore.
Thank you.
And the band.
Well, it looks like we only have time for just one more as we're kind of reaching the end. I know. I wish I could be forever too. Okay, since we're the last one, let me introduce the band first of all. So, you might have heard these names, but you probably have never heard the names that they've played with. So I will start with in the trumpets. If you're familiar with Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, this is the new trumpet player, Chris Berg, everybody. Exactly. I mentioned it before, but I should also know too that he actually just got the gig with being the trumpet player for Tower of Power. That's Dave Richards, everybody. Yeah, exactly. Next up, I know, just full of great names. The next one is actually the trumpet player with Celine Dion. And now that Celine is actually here, we hope to see him back again. That's Matt Franke, everybody. Not much. And of course, you got Mike Campagna. Everybody, trumpet. Trombones, we got Fred Simmons, Eric Hughes, Jordan Wainwright, Paul Nelson. Saxophones, we got Dan Kanayuki, Stephen Ragsdale, Alex Budman, Brett McDonald, Tim McKay, and the rhythm, that is Andy Waddell on guitar, Amy Rowe on piano, Ross Shodek on bass, of course the one carrying it all, Kevin Van Den Elzen, everybody. I really want to thank front of house as well, John, doing the sound, for doing a fantastic job there. And I also want to thank Jack and Tim for being willing to take a chance on me to have my big band here. And also thank you guys for coming too. And it's really nice to see all these like family and fame members. Wait, make some noise if you are related to me in some form or another. That works. That's pretty good. So yeah. Yes. So thank you for my family come. I especially want to thank my mom, actually, because she's the type of person, I know, right? She's the type of person has always been incredibly supportive of me ever since I wanted to do music when I was 13 for a living. In fact, she was so supportive that I didn't know it was a thing that parents discourage their kids from being musicians for a living. In fact, I remember very vividly, actually, when I was like first year of college, and I was like having lunch with other saxophone player friends. And they were saying like, yeah, you know, my parents really didn't want to do music, and like, but I knew I had to. I was like, you had parents that didn't want you to do music? What horrible parents. So I didn't know that's a thing. So thank you guys so much. This is Running and Dry. This features Dave Richards and Kevin Van Den Elzen. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, let's hear it for Joey D. Fiore. Man. I mean, I'm optimistic about the future, so I love having a young optimist right here. The future of music is bright, my friends. Man, and how about this room for a big band? I'm back there, it's just like, this feels so good. It's just that, you know, kind of that thick, kind of textured, cashmere, velvety kind of wrap around you, kind of, wow, I could sit here for a lot longer in this hot tub. But anyway, thank you, Joe. Man, so good. Guys, I mean, well, I don't know, they're packing their charts up. I guess that's a wrap.
Can't go overtime with them. You know, that's an extra fee.
Thank you so much, though, for coming out. And all you guys, man, thanks for being here. Kevin, good to see you. Glad you made it. We have live music every night of the week, except Mondays we're closed. Steamers Jazz at Jax is Thursday nights and oftentimes on Sundays. So check out campusjax.com and, you know, drive home safe. Come back often. See you soon.